Well, hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this week's episode of Numerology Quick Takes, we're going to take a look at the forecast for the week of February 17th. And of course, this is a general forecast. So if you would like your own personal numerology and understand your forecast for your own personal numerology, you can book some time with me. My information's in the description box below. I would love to work with you. All right, so this week we're going to be working with the vibration of the 8. When the 8 comes in a cycle, it can bring with it karma. And really what we're looking at is the karma that we've accrued or the karma that we've paid off, the debt that we've paid off, in previous cycles. So basically like our past effort. And so this week we could see like a culmination point, right? Things coming to fruition. And our past efforts will determine in our own individual experience what those sort of rewards or what that karma looks like. Let's put it that way. What that karma looks like. And that can come in the shape of rewards, or it can come in the shape of lessons. It is truly a cycle for reaping what we have sown. It's truly a cycle for gauging where we are at, body, mind, spirit, in our personal journey at this moment in history. And the way that we can gauge that is by the experiences that we are having. So if we have, let's just say some of our actions may not have been in the highest light previously, then what we could see present at this time are lessons or challenges to help us to see sort of the error of our ways. And then it's up to us to make the decisions to move in a better direction. So it's not necessarily like, because there's things we don't have control over in our lives, right? Life does happen to us, but we do have control over how we move through that experience, and the decisions that we make and the choices that we make help to determine or to shape those experiences. So if in the past, in the last few weeks, in the last few months, in the last few years, we have been moving from a place of solely focusing on our own needs, from a place of selfishness or greed, or the need for power, or the need to control our situation or others in some way, then the experience that we will see come about this week will likely bring additional challenges or lessons that we have to pay attention to in order to shift our direction, right? To get on a better, more aligned path. On the flip side of that, if our actions over the course of the last few months or last few years have been very, very driven, very ambitious, but also one of helping to not only uplift, empower ourselves and inspire ourselves, but help to uplift, empower, inspire others, right? What doors did we have open for us that we then turned around and opened for others? Whether it's in a business atmosphere or in a influential space or whatever it was. Or if someone came to us to ask for assistance in a way that we were able to assist, but chose not to, right? Then, or chose to, that's going to be reflected this week, or has the likelihood to be reflected this week. So when I say that this week is driven by karma, it's basically reaping what we have sown. So if we have sown seeds of flowers and fruit and, vegetables, then we're going to have a beautiful, bountiful harvest this week. And that can come in the way of promotions or assistance that we weren't expecting, or someone, again, uplifting, empowering, inspiring us in some way that motivates us, or financial rewards coming in, some kind of inheritance, something coming in, or potentially several things coming in that match the frequency and the vibration of the seeds that we have planted. Now, if over the last several weeks or months or years we've been planting nothing but weeds and weeds, then that's what we're gonna reap this week. And while everyone else is enjoying their flowers and their yummy fruits and veggies, we're just gonna have a handful of weeds because that's what we've been planting. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I've been planting flowers, then you know that this week is going to bring you that beautiful bounty or that beautiful bouquet of flowers in some way. It doesn't have to be this huge reward or this, it can be very subtle, but it'll be something that feels good for you. And just know that that's something that you have not only planted, but nurtured and tended to get it to this point. But again, if you're sitting on the other side of the fence and your actions have been lacking in integrity, driven by selfish needs, driven by the need to control or have power over another, or again, driven by greed, then you're likely going to see those results. And it will likely come in the form of some kind of a lesson or even a loss sometimes. Sometimes karma needs to get our attention so that we can see where it is we need to make some changes. And again, that can come in through loss or difficulties that we need to move through in order to shift our focus and find a better way and make better decisions moving forward. So it's very possible to also see this on the global stage where, and this is for a week. This is a shorter cycle, but a lot can happen in a week, as I always say. So we could see some things come in where those karmic events are coming in, right? So if on a global stage, there's been more sowing of weeds, we're going to see those weeds come to fruition, so to speak. I don't know. But if we've been seeing more, again, planting flowers and, growth towards unity and actions taken with integrity and assistance and all of those things, then that's what we're going to see unfold on a global stage. So beautiful energy here, but it's a powerful energy that is sort of like a checkpoint energy. So if this is a week that brings your flowers in for you, then you know that what you're doing is what you're meant to be doing. You're on the right path. But if your heart's in the right place and your intentions are good. But if this week brings nothing but weeds, it's not that there's something wrong with you or you're an awful person. It just means you just need to see where it is that moving forward, you can focus more on planting more flowers instead of those weeds. And it really ultimately comes down to our actions, right? And the decisions that we make and how we choose to move forward. The other thing I would say is if those flowers do come in for you this week, then share them. Be mindful about, not just seeking to, gain those rewards and use them for yourself. But the 8 energy asks us to circulate the energy, right? To share the rewards, to share the goodness, to share the prosperity and the abundance, because that's what keeps us continuing to evolve, and that pushes us towards greater unity, and that pushes us towards greater success and abundance collectively. You see what I'm saying? So if you were to come into some kind of, incredible inheritance this week, then the 8 energy would ask you to share some of that, right? Contribute in some way to your local community or the community at large to help to empower, uplift, inspire others in some way. Philanthropy is a huge energy to be satisfied during an 8 cycle. And it encourages us during an 8 cycle to, again, look at the abundance that we have and find ways to share it without looking for anything in return. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just money. It could simply be your time, your energy, your expertise, wherever it is that you've gained some kind of recognition or platform or abundance through that, again, that talent or that whatever it is. This is a great week to share it and not seek something in return. And that really helps to satisfy the energy of the 8 in this cycle. And not only that, but guess what? It's moving forward, planting the next batch of flowers in taking those actions, in circulating sort of that abundance and that good and that prosperity. You're planting the seeds for the next cycle, the next 8 cycle that will come in to bring those rewards, you see. So to put it kind of bluntly, this is a cycle where we will receive exactly what we deserve. And that includes collectively, right? Individually and collectively. So it can be some kind of a wake-up call as well, where we're being shown that, because sometimes we don't realize that we're planting weeds. We think we're planting flowers, but then when it grows and we're like, oh my gosh, this is all weeds, So then we're like, okay, what do I need to do differently? So this week, again, individually and collectively, we will likely receive exactly what we deserve in this moment to indicate what path we are currently on. And if we like the path, we like the results, we like the flowers or the weeds, then we can continue on that path because we always have free will. But this is a great week to gain insight into the direction that we're moving and to recognize whether or not that's the direction that we want to continue to move or not. Now, this is also a great week for planning or launching something. Any kind of business venture, anything that you're looking to build that will require some kind of a strong foundation. This is a wonderful time to get started on that. This is a wonderful time to, connect with people who might be a business partner or people who have a similar vision or have strengths where you may have weaknesses or limitations, and coming together to build that bigger vision. This is an awesome energy for coming together and for creating something powerful and substantial that has the power to bring in a tremendous amount of growth and abundance and success to all involved, right? This is not an individual type of energy where it's strictly self-focused. But this is an excellent time for putting yourself out there, for taking the risk. This is a big risk-taking type of energy. Sometimes we got to take the risk to see, what's possible. And so if you've been, wanting to take a risk on something, this is the week to take that leap of faith. But I will say, when we're talking about 8 energy, there are typically peaks and valleys with this energy. And so when we take a risk, there's the possibility that it's going to pay off and we hit a high. Or there's the possibility that it's not going to go as we planned and we're going to hit that valley. We're going to hit that low. And the 8 energy helps us to see that both serve a purpose, the highs and the lows. It doesn't mean to stop taking the risks. It just means we have to be able to recognize when we hit those lows, what did not work, what was not working, and release it. And put our energy and our focus on what is working and what has the potential, and then build from there. And we'll eventually get up to a high again. And of course, if you take a risk and you hit the high, great, celebrate it, wonderful. Reap those rewards, but also circulate that energy, share the abundance. And then you will likely see more of those rewards. But But if you take a risk this week and it doesn't go as planned, or it doesn't pan out, don't get stuck there. Don't beat yourself up. Don't see it as failure. Look to see what did not work in the equation and remove it, release it. Put your energy and your focus on what did work within the scenario and build from there. But don't get stuck in that valley. That's not the purpose of the valley. This is a week where success on the material plane is, or, anything material, right? Because 8 energy governs the material plane. Business, expertise, money, resources, power, status. This is possible to see success here in some area of your life, and to be quite profitable in some instances. This is a time to be efficient, to be organized, and to be focused on the tangible results. A lot of times we don't really say to focus on the tangibles, but this is such a powerful week for focusing on the tangible results, right? We've taken the idea or the inspiration and we've planted those seeds. We've moved with intention. And now the focus is on the tangibles. And then what are we going to do with those tangibles? So if the tangible is, an increase in pay, or if it's some kind of accolade or some kind of increase in influence or power or status, what are we going to do with that? Because to, again, satisfy the energy of the 8, it's got to be reciprocated in some way. So again, if someone helped to open a door for us, that's great. But now we can have an opportunity to open the door for others. And this energy will push us to hopefully do that and to do it with an open heart and all those things. But this is a focus on the tangibles this week. And we'll need energy and ambition in order to respond to what comes in at this time. So don't shy away from that. And don't let yourself burn out, right? Take your time, follow your inspiration, follow the idea, connect with people who can help you to make it happen, ask for the assistance that you need this week, go out on a limb and, reach out to someone who has what it is that you need, whether, again, it's the strengths where you have limitations or they have the financial backing or whatever that they could bring to the table. This is a great week to reach out to those people and to help, I don't want to say persuade them, but to ask them to come on board. And you might be really surprised and pleased with the results. And I would also say, don't let yourself get too overwhelmed this week by whatever it is that you have on your plate. Because remember, this energy can bring in those rewards, right? So that reward might be a promotion. Well, with that promotion, yes, might come more pay, but it will also likely come more responsibility. And so you just want to make sure that you don't become overwhelmed, that you have a plan, right? That you're capable of handling whatever it is you're taking on, but to think about that and to feel into that before you, of course, say yes to it. But don't let the strain or the overwhelm of the present sort of undertaking, whatever that may be, deplete your energies. Make sure you're checking in with yourself to rejuvenate, to fill your cup back up. Now, this week could also be one where you are in the driver's seat, meaning you're the one giving the accolades, giving the rewards, giving the flowers, whatever it may be. And so I would just say, be open to assisting and helping where you can. Don't let pride or greed stifle that opportunity to show up in that way. And in your drive to the top, don't forget about the people who helped you get there or who are helping you to get there. Because never do we get to the top without a lot of assistance. Some is very clear, some is very blatant, but the other help that we get sometimes is very subtle. Sometimes we wouldn't even see it as help. But this is a great time to recognize all the people that helped you to get where you are and to not overlook that. In the core of this energy It really is a cycle to show us the absolute necessity of sowing good seeds, of sowing those flowers. And so pay attention to what comes in for you this week. And whatever you receive is the result of your own past efforts. And that can seem a little bit harsh, especially if we're more in victim mode, thinking life only happens to us. Life doesn't only happen to us. There are certainly circumstances that do happen to us, but we always have choices and opportunities to decide in how we want to participate. And so this is a beautiful week to remind us of that. Definitely will require strength. The 8 energy is depicted by the Strength card in tarot. A lot of inner strength might be needed, especially if we're going to take risks. And especially if those risks don't necessarily pan out. A lot of strength to see those lows as much of a blessing as the highs, but to not stop the journey, right? To continue to take the risk, continue to go towards the vision. So beautiful energy here. Now, I pulled an animal wisdom energy for this week, and we got cardinal energy. And it's interesting because I always think of, when I think of cardinal energy, is if you've seen a cardinal, they're this bright red, the males are bright red, and they just look like fire. And so it's really this energy of igniting your inner flame, of bringing that motivation and that ambition. But the cardinal is also sometimes thought of to bring messages from loved ones who have passed on. So there's this spiritual element to the cardinal as well, which there is to the 8 as well. The 8 is very much depicted as, or it is very much a material, physical type of energy, but there's a really strong spiritual component to the 8 energy as well. And that's what I get with cardinal too. It's like this energy of fire, like motivation and drive and ambition. But it's also this connection to the unseen, to the integrity, to the inspiration, to the intuition, to the ethereal, right? So there's this beautiful merging with cardinal energy coming through this week of the spiritual and the physical, the higher self and the lower self. Let the higher self drive the actions of the lower self. And by higher self, of course, I mean our soul, our spirit. And by lower self, I'm talking about the physical body, the ego. So this week, as the rewards come in, or the tangibles, or as you take action in a certain direction towards those tangibles or towards those goals, check in with yourself and make sure that your why holds integrity. And when you see the rewards come in, you're excited to do something with those rewards that serve something bigger than just self. Beautiful energy this week. Hope it's a great one. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.